Alright guys, if you're new to my channel, my name is JCal. This is kind of a different video, and it's more of a story time about the first time that I got caught with a hickey on my neck. Before we get into this video, make sure you hit the subscribe button and leave a like on the video. The video goal today is 200 likes, so if we could hit that, I will probably, I don't know, do like a backflip or something. Anyway, let's get right into the story here. It starts when I was probably about 16. This was a couple days before the summer of my sophomore year. Like I was going into sophomore year, I think. The day started off normal. I woke up, brushed my teeth, got dressed, hopped in the shower, then got on the bus and went to school. I met up with this girl I was talking to at the time. We kind of had a dating thing for like a year on and off. I remember we walked into the cafeteria together and we both got breakfast. It was a cereal day. I remember that because it was like the really small, like shitty bowls of cereal. So like they weren't that good, but got about 2 total teaspoons full of cereal. My sophomore year was whenever COVID hit and everything shut down. So I got like a lot of crazy stories from like that time frame. I had like all my friends in all my classes. So I think COVID really decided to go ahead and nerf the friend group. If you guys want to hear more stories about that, let me know, and I can do a lot more of these in the future. Yeah, so we ate per normal, or I guess I ate because I ate her cereal too, because I'm kind of a fucking big back. Then I walked her to her classroom. She ended up like texting me like third period. She was like, hey, you want to come over tonight? And I was like, hell yeah, because it was Friday, and apparently her parents were not going to be home for the night, so you know what that means. I was just getting antsy like throughout the day, like just waiting until, I can go over. Because, little, like, what am I, 15, 16? I might have been 16 at the time. Little 16-year-old me is just hyped. He hears parents not home, and he just wants to go. We came around to about 8th hour, and we do have that class together, so it was kind of cool. We talked, like, what we're going to do. It wasn't anything, like, insane that you shouldn't be talking about in school, because I think that shit's just, like, cringe to talk about. Finally, at, like, 2:49, the bell rang, and we walked outside. I dropped her off at her bus like a true gentleman. And I went back and I got on mine. Thankfully, I was the first stop, so the ride wasn't awful. As soon as I walked in the door, I was like, hey, Ma, you got to let me know. Can I go over tonight? And, she said, yeah, thankfully. So I just ended up hopping on my PC for a little bit to, like, kind of waste time, I guess. And I played some Counter-Strike for a couple of hours. At about 5:30, I hopped into the shower and put on, like, the special event clone that I had because, obviously, I'm trying to spit some game. Like, who wouldn't? Finally, at like 6 o'clock, we started heading over there, and my mom's asking me normal stuff like, "Oh, what are you gonna do tonight? What are you gonna do? Blah blah blah. Our parents gonna be home." And I was like, "Yeah, they're gonna be home. We're probably just gonna watch a movie, chill, play some games. Like not a whole lot." And I'm not gonna lie, I told a little white lie there by saying her parents would be home, and well, you guys already know by now that is a little bit further from the truth than I'd like to admit. Anyway, we got there like 15 minutes later. She didn't really live that far. Like when we got there, her parents are still there, obviously. So. Mom was cool with it. She dropped me off. I went in there, talked to her parents for a little bit, and then we went to her basement because that's where they had their big TV and a PS4 Pro. I'm not gonna lie, I wasted no time at all getting on Black Ops 4 and ripping it. I ended up playing for like 30 minutes, I think, and then finally her parents were like, "Hey, we're heading out. You guys be safe. Don't do anything bad." Yeah. So they ended up leaving. A couple minutes later, whenever they finally ended up leaving, we put on a scary movie and turned off the lights. If you ask me, I have no fucking idea what the movie was. I'm just going to be completely real with you guys. No idea what the film was about, but I do remember that I had to memorize the, the whole, I guess, summary of the movie, just in case I got questioned about it. Anyway, so she started to, kind of snuggle up, and touch me, and not, bad, but just, making contact. And I don't know about you guys, but when I was 16 and I received any kind of, physical touch from the opposite gender, some sort of just grabbed in the zipper. I'm sure the movie was good, like I said, but we just did not really watch it at all. We started kissing, like whatever teens do during a scary movie, and it was dark too, so yeah, that kind of added to it. A little time advances, probably like 30 minutes later, and then we ended up going to her room. And for the record, we did put the movie back on, but just kind of used it as background because, I still have no idea what fucking movie we watched. We did that for 3 hours or so, and a bit later, it was probably 10 o'clock, and we heard our parents pull back into the driveway, and I'm not gonna lie, I was shocked. They pulled back in. I didn't even realize how much time had passed. She'd been like, you know, kissing my neck or whatever for a minute, and I knew there was probably like a mark there, but I didn't want to think about it because I knew that I was just going to get beaten like a redheaded stepchild if anything was actually there. So she like pulled back or whatever. She started investigating to see if there was like a marker there or anything, and then she just kind of like got a look of shock on her face, and I knew immediately what that meant. I was like, oh fuck, no, I'm about to get the shit beat out of me. I just didn't, you know, I just didn't want to face the realization that there was actually something there. I threw on my hoodie real quick. I was a, you know, kind of kid who always had a hoodie, you know, like all through high school and middle school and shit. So, you know, thankfully I was strapped up, to say the least. I was strapped. We heard her parents start to walk in the house, and then they walked upstairs, started coming down towards her room, and they came in like, you know, whenever they came in, we were like 2 feet from each other. We were trying to play it off real smooth and shit. We were playing like iMessage games, I think, and we were like, you know, far apart, so they didn't think anything was crazy. It probably, looking back, probably looked a real, like, very, very suspect that we were that far away. Anyway, they were like, hey, you know, we got like 15 minutes where we're gonna take you home. I was like, all right, cool. Immediately, like, I'm looking up home remedies and some shit to, like, you know, get this hickey off my neck. We tried the cold spoon. We tried to like massage the area to make the blood vessels, you know, relax, but yeah, let's just say none of that shit worked. So finally, we start heading home. We go down there. We get into the car. I got my hoodie like up over my neck, so, you know, I could try to block it so they don't beat the shit out of me. Her dad is kind of a larger guy, so I think he could have thrown me pretty easy. I was trying to like make up excuses in my head. So like whenever I walked in the house, my parents were like, hey, why are you wearing a hoodie? It's like 80 degrees outside. Like I said, you know, we were pretty close to the start of summer, so it was really starting to heat up, and it was a particularly hot, when was it? Probably May, I think. So like the whole ride there is just fucking quiet, like no conversation at all. So my anxiety is just like coming out of my ears. We pull into the driveway and the lights were off, but the TV was on because we usually just like left the TV on to, like, you know, someone wants to break into our house. We're like, oh wait, someone could be home. Anyway, so my first thought is, oh cool, they're not home, or they're not awake right now. So, you know, I should just be able to walk in and be clear, think about what I'm going to say tomorrow, how I'm going to cover this up. Well, to my shock, I unlocked the door and I walked in, and both of my parents were in the living room with the fucking TV on. And as soon as I walked in, I was like, oh shit. You know, I just kind of like stopped, went to like walk by normal. I was like acting like I was trying to be quiet because they were asleep. My mom got up and she like went to the bathroom. She's like, hold on, stay here, because I guess we had some like family shit to do the next day. I'm not really sure, or if she just kind of like wanted to inspect me anyway because she saw the hoodie. Anyway, like my living room setup, just so you guys like are completely lost. So we have like a couch by the exterior window, and then the TV's like right in front of that, and then there's a couch off to the right of the reclining couch that we have, which is the one by the window. And so I sat there, and that's like right across from the hallway, like where the bathroom is. So the hallway light was on, and a couple minutes later, my mom walked out, and I don't know if she saw like, you know, like a glint of light, like reflecting off of me, but she just like stopped and just like stared at me. I was like, what's up? You know, just trying to play it off all casual. And she turned on the light, told me to stand up, and then, you know, at this point, I just knew I was just cooked. And she was like, what the fuck is on your neck? And I was like, what do you mean? She was like, no, that's a fucking whore bump. She called it a whore bump, and I thought that was really funny because, like, who else is calling it a whore bump? I just, like, sort of, like, nervously laughing because, you know, I'm trying to, like, play it off. Like, yeah, I don't know what that is. Maybe I got shot with a paintball. But my stepdad, he's just, like, laughing. Like, he's silently laughing. And, you know, I don't have an excuse, so I just, like, stare at her, I guess, you know, like, Kurt Angle stares at the camera. And my stepdad, he just keeps on laughing. My mom was like fuming, pissed off, but thankfully, you know, I got pretty chill parents. So I ended up getting like 10 minutes of scolding like a kid who just broke a vase, and I only got grounded for like 2 weeks, and only had to have a very awkward conversation about the birds and the bees. But I ended up being able to keep my phone, so that was kind of cool. And then after that, I just like, after that 2 weeks, I played my summer very safe. I didn't do anything that was even reckless at all. Definitely stayed away from getting freaky of any kind at that age. I should have been focused on, I don't know, Fortnite maybe, my Call of Duty career. Anyway, so yeah, that's about really all that I got. I just got like a scolding and large amounts of embarrassment for myself, and I ruined like the whole next day. We didn't end up going, but More of the story, if you're gonna get a little freaky with your lady friend, don't be stupid, know your limits, and maybe don't get a big ass hickey right in the middle of your neck. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed this video, let me know. Comment down below if you guys want to hear any more story times from me. I got loads of them because I was in high school during like the COVID lockdowns. Anyway, yeah, it's been JCal. Make sure you guys subscribe, and see you next time. Later.